I have so much disdain for this guy that normally, if you guys know my videos here, I usually put the links of the articles I'm talking about in the description. Not doing that here. I don't want any SEO for this guy. No search engine optimization, no no oxygen for this guy going forward. What is up, everybody? It is Jake with Master of Football, back at it again. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to be up to date on all things college football, pro football, Madden, EA, college football, anything related to American football, hit that red subscribe button. You will not be disappointed. Also, the like button too. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the video. All right, so I have an air unit on my AC here, and so I turned it off. In addition to this new topic that we're talking about here, I'm going to be sweating during this video, okay? So everybody just hold off because I'm a little hot right now. I want to make sure I set the stage for what I'm hot about because I want to make sure I understand something. I want to avoid YouTube's harassment policies and this and that. So let's go into some definitions here because I want to make sure I set the precedent for what I'm going to do. So here we are on LegalZoom.com. It says, what is the difference between slander and libel? Libel and slander are both types of defamation. Libel is untrue defamatory statement that is made in writing, whereas slander is an untrue defamatory statement that is spoken orally. The difference between defamation and slander is that the defamatory statement can be made in any medium. I use that definition to set the stage here because the thing about slander is to avoid slander, you can just put yourself as an opinion. So I have a very strong opinion that I'm going to state here, but remember, it's an opinion. I'm going to do my best to support it with facts, but basically what's going on here is a writer for Deadspin by the name of Sean Beckwith is arguably one of the dumbest people in sports. I'm going to explain why. He has an argument here and there. First of all, let me bring up my list here of things I want to talk about here because I want to set the stage. We're going to do 4 things in this video. 1, we're going to explain the situation. 2, we're going to review the response of somebody in this situation, notably Sean Beckwith and his stupid response here. 3, we're going to address some of the arguments and some of my agreements and disagreements. I have some agreements, mostly disagreements. And then 4, we're going to talk about why this type of an article is the very type of article that destroys a writer's reputation, helps all the people who actually respond to his article, and ultimately leads to his own company's demise. So here's the article that we're going to discuss. This is not the most important one. This is the first article here. We're going to discuss this Matt Ariza situation. I made a video about it before back in December when he was basically, well, what happened was he was at a party. He was accused of sexual assault is what we're going to say. And then in December, those charges were dropped. So it says here that ex-Bills punter Matt Ariza speaks on prosecutors' findings. So the prosecutors' findings were just released. We're going to get into those here in a second. It says former Buffalo Bills punter Matt Ariza has broken his silence for the first time since being accused of sexual assault case last year. In August 2022, Ariza was accused in a civil lawsuit, not a criminal one. Only days later, Ariza was released by the Bills. The initial news only broke a few days after he was named the team's starting punter. In December 2022, again, right around the time I made that video, the San Diego officials announced Ariza would not be charged. That leads up to this week, as prosecutors have gone on to state their reason for not charging Ariza. It was announced that an investigation concluded that Ariza was not at the scene of the alleged incident, which also included witness testimony. Via statement of Pro Football Talk, Ariza had thanked the work of the San Diego District Attorney's Office for his exoneration. That release is below. And again, that release is not important. And we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about some responses here because there's one response that was so objectively bad that I had to just go in on it. So we're going to go, of course, do Deadspin to see what they said because one of the dumbest men in the world, in the sports world, Sean Beckwith, has one of the worst takes I've ever heard in my entire life. It says here, every athlete accused of mistreating women is as expendable as Matt Ariza. And again, this was not published months ago. This was published yesterday. It says Deshaun Watson, Miles Briggs, Trevor Bauer are proof that the league should only be overly cautious in cases of sexual assault and physical abuse. So it says here, I don't want to offer a silver lining in the Matt Ariza case because a woman was allegedly sexually assaulted, and the punt god's reported innocence doesn't lessen the victim's trauma. However, in the year that it took to conclude the legal matter, did anyone miss Ariza? Says right here, punters are on the field 5 and hopefully not 10 snaps a game, and in the grand scheme of the NFL campaign, no one pined for Ariza. The same can be said for Deshaun Watson and Miles Bridges, whose alleged mistreatment of women earned them a year plus away from their sports. It concludes here with a question. While the Houston Texans, Cleveland Browns, and Charlotte Hornets were all worse off without their star players, who gives a crap? Am I supposed to feel bad for the Texans, Browns, and Hornets fans? They get their brains stomped in every year, so it was business as usual. Even if it wasn't, players' absence due to legal matters, injuries, or otherwise take teams out of contention all the time, and the leagues and clubs carry on with bottom lines intact. The LA Dodgers, Sans, Trevor Bauer are proof of that, and baseball fans' apathetic approach to the pitcher's extended absence should serve as a message to commissioners who act like their hands are tied when an employee is involved in a dicey sexual or physical assault/mistreatment case. While a court didn't convict Bauer, who denied the allegations against him or anything, his purported actions weren't acceptable in any century of human existence, and he just so happened to be in one that treats crap bags like him, like the pariahs they are. So again, we're operating off of accusations here. Nothing was proved in court. So every pro athlete is expendable. Awesome. Very, very mature here. It says, forgive me if I don't have the energy for the people who shout, what about the falsely accused? It concludes here and it says, I don't feel bad for Bills fans, Matt Ariza, or the money he missed out on, but will likely recoup after Tuesday's revelations. The guy's job is to kick a ball 7 times on Sunday for 17 weeks. He's not the only person who can be reduced to playing with balls for a living. It's a privilege, not a right, to be a professional athlete. Okay, so first of all, I want to make sure I can Iron Man his perspective here, because he makes a couple of small kernels in there, but surrounded by a lump of crap. So there was 2 big arguments that were made in there that we need to address. One of them I actually moderately agree with. The other one is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life. So one of them that I moderately agree with, it says, why does the NFL treat basically QBs and punters different if it takes these allegations equally serious, allegations of sexual assault and so on and so forth? He is correct there. Whereas you see Matt Ariza was basically, they just cut him. They didn't really care. Deshaun Watson, the Browns did everything within their power to make sure he could still play. They had his $230 million salary. He had $1 million in the first year. They knew he was going to get suspended. He got suspended for X amount of games. There's clearly some tomfoolery involved in that whole situation to show that they're not 100% serious about addressing sexual assault. Totally understand that point. That is actually a strong point there. The second point is one of the dumbest and basically the biggest haterade thing I've ever heard in my entire life. The second one here is professional athletes' jobs are privileges, not rights, so taking them away shouldn't be a big deal. In my opinion, that is one of the biggest loser perspectives I've ever heard in my entire life. I absolutely hate that perspective. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure I can include a couple articles here to kind of talk what we're talking about. I have some legal definitions. I also have I'm literally going to be quoting Shakespeare in this system here, because there's just so many things wrong with that statement that a lot of people, the worst part is a lot of people actually have that perspective and they think that they're being right. Who cares? Cut them. It doesn't matter. It's a privilege. It's not a right. Go work at McDonald's. That's kind of the feeling. They didn't exactly say that, but it's kind of the feeling you get from this. Let's go through this step by step and disprove all of it. This right here is from One Man's View. And again, this is a personal opinion section. This is not going to be my strongest piece of evidence here, but basically this comes out here. This came out in 2010. I actually found this, and it came down here, and it was a really, really good line. It says, athletes possess a rare skill set that the leagues need to hold our attention. Someone being able to have a job you wish you had does not make it a privilege. And again, in the same thing as there's somebody who can work at McDonald's, there's somebody who can be a professor, there's somebody who can be a surgeon, there's somebody who can be an NFL quarterback. These are all their own unique situations. However, the one thing they all have in common is that they require a skill set. Some have, some don't. They're all equally respectable jobs. I don't give a dang what anybody says. A job is a job. And again, we actually come to Sherm right over here because I want to talk about this situation right here. So a legal theory called the job as property doctrine. And again, this completely craps in the face of what he basically said there. It says states that employment is a fundamental right of American workers and that the loss of employment has such a serious impact on a person's life that individuals should not lose their jobs without the protection of due process later codified under the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. Affording due process means recognizing the employee's right to be informed of unsatisfactory performance and to have a chance to defend himself and improve before an adverse employment action, such as a discharge, is taken place. So the Society of Human Resource Management basically came out and said, no, it turns out that all jobs are rights, because the thing about taking a job, if you imagine that whole situation, professional athletes they're privileged, they earn that privilege. Doctors are privileged, they earn that privilege. Somebody is at McDonald's, is privilege. They earned that privilege. I don't give a damn what anybody says, oh no, it's different. No, you just can't explain why, because you're not intelligent. And again, I want to make sure we're clear about this. Cancel culture, and I know that there's a lot of things about cancel culture. There was a guy from Locked On Big 12 who just can't cancel it. I forgot what his name is. I'm thinking off the top of my head. I actually am going to reach out to him, try and get him on this channel at some point. He was in a cancel culture situation. I don't want to get into that whole crap. But anyways, the problem with cancel culture is you put yourself in a situation where you think, oh yeah, well, what I'm going to do is prevent this person from doing the thing they're best at to earn money, and that's totally fine. I didn't kill them. I didn't kill them. Well, even Shakespeare disagrees with that because Shakespeare thinks that death by exile, which in essence, that was what we're doing here. You can't do what you're best at to provide for your family. You're not allowed based on based on frivolous, charges. Even he knew that. That's the reason why when people were asked back in the day, death versus exile, they would choose death because exile was worse. It says here in popular culture section of exile on Wikipedia, it says in drama, it says exile is an early motif in ancient Greek tragedy. In the ancient Greek world, and I would argue even today now, this was seen as a fate worse than death. Ostracized from your community, can't earn money, can't do this. And so instead of dying quickly, you die a slow and long and drawn out death. Oh, Matariza wouldn't have died. You're trying to do that with this instance. Somebody came forward and basically straight up lied about him being there to the point to where he lost his job on an erroneous charge that eventually came out to be false. And you're saying, oh yeah, who cares? It doesn't matter. You're an idiot. In fact, it's such a bad situation for the accuser in this instance that there may be several situations because we have to understand something. The firing happened in New York, whereas the action occurred in California. We're going to look at the employment situation in New York for Matariza, because again, for the Buffalo Bills. We're also going to look at the accusation situation in California because although he might not have very many options in New York, the accuser is going to be in a lot of trouble in California. So here we are on Ottinger Law over here talking about New York wrongful termination. And there's a very important thing down here. So the thing about New York is that you can still be fired for any reason at any point. Now, there are certain protections in there. You're breaking the law. You can't be fired for, not choosing not to break the law, something like that. However, think about this. Employees have the right to be protected from breach of oral or written contractual agreement between employers and employee, as well as protection against any illegal acts by the employer. So in this instance, we see the fact that he was fired off of false information. He was fired off of an accusation, if we're being honest here. So depending upon what's in the NFL's contract, he may be titled to recovering damages is what we'll say based off of that. And the bigger issue is with the state of California. In the state of California, it is a misdemeanor to falsely accuse someone of a crime that they did not commit, and you may face arrest and a criminal conviction if you do so. The penalties for making false accusations include up to 6 months in county jail and possible fines. And there's some information out here that basically stated that not only did he leave before this assault occurred, but apparently there was no assault anyway. I'm not going to confirm or deny that situation. That's just what I've heard through some sources out here, but I know that again, that you would have to prove intent in this instance. Did she intentionally lie about him being there? She was drunk. She doesn't know. There's lots of things where she's probably covered there, but it's not good for her. So this Sean Beckwith guy comes out and basically says, I don't care that you got rid of, they need to just be overly cautious about it. Screw their job. Screw what you work for the entire life. I don't care. I would rather sacrifice you for the sake of me too. I think you're dumb. And actually, as a matter of fact, I was thinking about this. I was like, Deadspin, man, isn't that one website that's been going down? Is this a crap post, or is this a clickbait or something like that? It might be, and actually, as a matter of fact, it shows the fact that Deadspin is headed in this direction because although it might have worked on me, it's not working overall. We come over here to awful announcing, and it says that Deadspin's traffic and execution will both need to vastly improve if the site wants to survive in the long term. Deadspin's audience is a shade over 10% of where it was before crap hit the fan last fall. And again, this article came out over here just after the pandemic started, and it's talked about the Hulk Hogan sex tape and this and that, blah, blah, blah. Basically, Deadspin got involved with a whole bunch of things that weren't sports, and it turns out that they stepped into some crap. They got sued. It's just a bunch of things here and there, and people just kind of realized for what it was. They were like, well, it could be a legitimate sports website, or it's just a bunch of clickbait crap where they try and get involved in politics here. Again, get woke, go broke. And again, the chickens are coming home to roost for all of these websites out here who went a little too woke. I don't mind people who are left-wing. I actually have a lot of left-wing fans, but just too much is ridiculous, okay? We can all admit that there's a certain segment of society that's just a bunch of morons. This is idiots on the woke side. But it says here that Vice, and again, we talk about them, Vice, once valued at $5.7 billion, may now be headed for bankruptcy. We talked about Deadspin. They lost 90% of their audience since the peak. We think about Vice. They were $5.7 billion, and then they were headed for bankruptcy. Get woke, go broke. And again, the reason why is because they do crap like this. It's one of my favorite memes out here. It says, Vice Media was just a shell of its former self. Goodbye, old friend. It says, Vice then. I will go to the most war-torn places on earth to expose the dirty politics. Vice now. 10 reasons why SpongeBob is homophobic. And I think we see the writing on the wall that this Sean Beckwith guy he's just headed for it because this happened recently. Deadspin makes correction on baseless, racially charged Mike McDaniel's story. If you're too much, if you're going to bash a dude for being white, make sure he's not half black too. Sean Beckwith of Deadspin wrote an atrocious story Saturday spotlighting the goofy personality of 49ers offensive coordinator. Beckwith tried to skewer society and giving the young white coaches like McDaniel the benefit of the doubt over black coaches. The story's opening paragraph is certainly provocative, but it's factually incorrect. What do you know? Be careful what you tweet for. People of the online realm, Mike McDaniel, the San Francisco 49ers coordinator who has gone viral for his adorable news conferences featuring references to Mike Jones and engaging answers, is ticking off all the boxes to be the next trendy young white guy who takes a head coaching position before many black deserving coaches. And then person over here, Caitlin Reeves says, hey, this article is factually wrong. I went to Yale with Mike, and let's just say you should have done your research on his background. You talk about the best. He's half black. I'm just so sick and tired of all of this crap. And again, you see the numbers out there. Woke, clickbait crap is destroying these companies. Same thing with Deadspin with the Sean Beckwith guy, who, by the way, left all social media because he's getting bullied so bad. The Mike McDaniel thing here and there, everything like that. So we talk about the Matt Araiza situation, okay? Was a star punter, falsely accused, cut off the team. December, it comes out that he wasn't charged. May, it comes out that he actually wasn't even there. And so now this guy comes out and he's like, I don't care. I still want him gone. I'm telling you, this cancel culture woke crap is done. I can't handle any of it. It's over. You have to stand for what's right. Due process is important, even for the people that you don't like. That's important, okay? But Sean Beckwith, you can see the fact there's a reason why he's not on social media. There's a reason why he writes these crap articles. But remember here, I am going to make more money off of roasting him for this than he is going to make money off of posting that article, because I'm telling you, man, get woke, go broke. 90% of Deadspin's audience is gone, and we can see why. I have so much disdain for this guy that normally, if you guys know my videos here, I usually put the links of the articles I'm talking about in the description. Not doing that here. I don't want any SEO for this guy. No search engine optimization, no oxygen for this guy going forward. And again, remember here, looking at the stacks, I'm not the only one who's not looking for Deadspin. All right, guys. Man, this just gets me fired up, man. But it's one of those classic situations. It intersects with college football, pro football, cancel culture, just things like that I absolutely hate. It also happened with my boy over there from Locked in the Big 12. I'm actually going to reach out to him pretty quick here. I forgot his name. Get in the comments right now, guys. Let me know what you think about this whole situation. I'm sorry. I'm just fired up, man. But anyways, have yourselves a good weekend. Remember, hit the like and subscribe button. Appreciate all that. I'll see you guys later. I am out.